How
about now?
Let me try again. Yes, okay. So, no, come on.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh, cocktail. I need a cocktail right now.
I've got a cocktail for you. Just let me. So it would just get me into presenters mode, and I don't know why. So let's do it without the shortcut. I'm done.
Ah, there you go. Okay. All right. You ready to go? Let me pin you first. Okay, so now you're pinned and you've got 10 minutes, so take it away.
All right, so 10 minutes, 10 slides. Today is a day to celebrate. It's not only International Teachers' Day, it's also the 5th anniversary of EFLtalks. So let me not only raise my glass, or rather my cup of herbal tea, but also tell you about the most basic key ingredients for a perfect EFL cocktail. This is the cocktail that if he works out for you, at the end of the day, you go home feeling good. You've spent a great time and you've given your students something valuable to take away. And hopefully your students feel the same. They're not only energized, but also have something that they could take away. But with teaching languages, it's a little bit like cooking. Sometimes we're in a hurry, and sometimes we're in the middle of cooking a curry when we find out that our daughter has just used up the last bit of coconut milk. Yeah, so this is not always perfect, but with a little bit of routine and creativity and a positive mindset, we fix something edible. But this is not what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about that perfect cocktail. And of course you want to know what's in it, right? So the ingredients are simple. It's E, F, and L. So you're wondering what this is all about. Is it elder syrup or fresh fruit and lime? It's going to be something stronger. The first E, and it's not in the right order, but I'll start with the E anyway. So E is for, can you have a guess? It's for establishing a connection. So why is this important? Because whenever we feel socially connected, our bodies produce oxytocin, and oxytocin just feels good. And if our students feel connected, they feel psychologically safe. They feel safe to share, safe to open up, safe to try new things, safe to make mistakes. It's a little bit like skiing, and I have to bring up the cliche here, I'm Austrian, so it really is like skiing. It's all about that falling down, getting up again, and this is how we learn, and the same is true for language learning. So how can we establish a connection with our students? First of all, we have to find out how they tick. How do we do this? We talk to them, we engage them in small talk, and then we listen, we watch, we observe, and we tune in. So if our audience is chatty, we chat with them. If they look you in the eye non-nonsensically, it's like question, answer, yes, thank you, next one, then this is what they need. If they like a good laugh, a loud one, then I'm sure we find something we can laugh about together with them. If they need a more calm atmosphere because they've been with clients all day, then this is what we give them. We look at our students' needs. Some of them might need the input, tuck, 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 quickly, because this is how their brain ticks. This is what they need to be in flow. Other students might like to take their time, because this is how they work, and then we give it to them. So it's listening, watching, observing, and getting in tune. You may call it rapport, you may call it nonverbal mirroring, but basically it's all the same. If our students feel connected, they feel safe, they feel okay, And this is how they can learn. So this is for E, establishing a connection, oxytocin, psychological safety, rapport. Now we have L. What could L be? I think the little lady gives it away. L is for listening, and it is for listening deeply. Are you a good listener? What is it that makes a good listener? Is it saying, wow, at the right time? Okay, Stephen Covey, you might have heard of him. He's the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He said that we listen deeply, not when we listen to talk over, not when we listen to reply, but when we listen to understand. And this is nothing easy. This is a tall order. It requires discipline. It requires practice. We need to practice it over and over again. It requires us to shift away the focus of ourselves completely to the other person. And it requires us to regulate our emotions. And this is the hardest thing. Have you ever realized that maybe it was easier to listen to a client than to a loved one? Yeah, of course, because whenever our loved ones are involved, emotions are involved, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So yeah, but I think it's worth it. Deep listening is worth it, both in the classroom as well as with our beloved ones. Because again, with listening, if people feel heard, they feel safe to speak up. They feel safe to ask questions. And I think this is what we really need in our classrooms. So the last ingredient is F, and it's for facilitating insight and action. So what is insight? Insight is that great idea that we sometimes have when we are out jogging, we're swimming, under the shower, or sometimes when we wake up at 5:25 in the morning, 5 minutes before our alarm clock gets off, and we know exactly what we can do to make our kid clean his room and work for school instead of playing Rocket League on the computer all day. This is an insight. Sometimes we have them. So what are insights scientifically speaking? According to neuroscience, an insight is a new connection in the brain. A new connection made to an existing knowledge structure. And according to Davis and others who wrote in 2014 in their update on the AGES model, insights are ideas that are previously existing ideas in the brain that are connected in a way they have never been connected before. And this helps us solve complex questions, complex problems. So insights are great. Insights are motivating. They increase intrinsic motivation. And insights change our brain. But how can we help our students create insights, get insights? First of all, we need to meet them where they are, because we have heard their connections to existing knowledge structures. So we guide our students through what they already know. And no student is an empty vessel. We won't create insight by telling students, by throwing facts and figures at them and telling them what they should do. No, we guide them through what they already know. We let them tap into their existing knowledge, into their existing experiences, and then take it from there. And then we ask questions. We ask questions that raise metacognition. These are questions that help them understand their own thinking process better, that help them become more aware of their own thinking progress. And it's questions like, how would it feel if? What worked well? Or could we apply this to other situations? And then we have an insight. But hopefully, they can be triggered like this. It's a lot of practice involved, but we have that insight. And we see those faces lightening up when we know they're having an insight. But insights are not only rare and precious, they're also fleeting. So There is, they vary according to their intensity, and there is even a Eureka scale, a so-called Eureka scale, and indicating the intensity of an insight. And you can Google it. You can Google Eureka scale, Neuro Leadership Institute, David Rock, and you can find out more about it. And if we look at that Eureka scale, we can see that there are low-level insights that only last for a couple of minutes. It's a shame. There are more intense insights that last a little bit longer, but if we don't do anything with them, we lose them. So what can we do? We can write them down, we can talk about them with others, and we can bring them to action. We should bring them to action. And this is what we should do with our students as well. We tell them, write this down, share this with your neighbor, share this with 5 other people in the room, share it in your breakout rooms, and then bring them, make them, put it to action. Make your students get active. It's this, who does it learns it. So this is very important to really not stop at the insight, but bring it to action. And this is something very similar that happened to me with this very EFL talk today, because one day I woke up at 5:25 in the morning, 5 minutes before my alarm went off, and I had the idea for this talk. But luckily, I wrote it down. Luckily, I can share it with you, and luckily, I can bring it to action, and I hope you can do as well. So, cheers to EFL and happy Teachers' Day.